I just finished cutting the slots there for where the eyelets will go through, and then we'll install the pin. And for the last lure that I tried with the hinge joints, what I did was make a V like I normally would for the interlocking connecting joints. But since it's different with the hinge joints, I found that it's definitely better to use this kind of angle with making these, because with a smoother angle there, I'll just have a much better rotation of movement, and that should work out much better. So anyway, I drilled out those slots there. My drone was pretty dull, so that's why it's kind of burnt, but we'll paint over it so you won't see it. And then I drilled a hole through there, and now it's time to make the pin. And for the pin, I'm going to use this piece here from a binder clip. So I don't really have like an official source of making the pins, but really all I do is just saw off the length that I want from the straight part and then install that into the lure. And it works pretty well. So that's the next step. Alright, so this is what the pin is looking like, and obviously these aren't fully in yet. I'm just waiting to install those till the end, because I found that you get a much better connection and clean action when you wait to install the joints till the end. So that way all the paint and all the gunk doesn't get on there from the clear coat. But anyway, those are going to go in those slots there that I made, and then this pin is going to slide down through each of the eyelets, through the wood, and then out the bottom there. And then eventually at the end, we'll put it together so it swings freely like that. And have a really nice free-flowing action through the water, and should work really well. So that's the plan. For the hook hangers and the line tie, I'm just going to be using the same little eyelets that I use for the hinge joint. Normally I make my own little connections out of the 20-pound steel wire that I have, but for this one I'm just going to stick with these, and they seem pretty strong, and these threads really keep them in there, so it should work pretty well. The wood's all sealed, and I have the lure temporarily set up, so we're going to be using the hot glue gun method to try to guess where the lead should go. The hot glue gun method allows you to apply the lead for a certain area, test out how the lure sinks, and then also be able to change it if you would like. This is a great process because it allows you to be able to test out where the lead should go without actually having to drill into the lure. I'm also going to try to get the lure to sink without a tilt, so pretty level and also at a slower rate, just so that way I get a good gliding action. Alright, fairly level, but I think I have to add a lot more to the head because there's a lot more wood in the front compared to the tail end. I added a second weight to the front. Now I'm going to try out some of my homemade weights because I think those will add a little bit more. It's much easier to install these just because they're pretty heavy and they don't take up a lot of space compared to having to stack a bunch of split shots throughout the lure. Alright, now I combine the both. I have some homemade weights there and also some split shots. This should be enough to get it to sink. Alright, so all I did was add a couple stripes there with this comb stencil, and I used silver for that and a little bit of gold scales there at the top. So that's all I added there. Now I'm going to add some more detailed colors with the green on the top and then maybe some white along where the lateral line would go, and then we can get into the stenciling for the gills. I mixed together some green, brown, and also some black to get a darker looking green here. This will go over the back and also on the tail of the lure. Now for white on the gills. Let's see how we did with the weight. I figured that it would definitely sink by the time we added all the clear coat and everything. But that's what I wanted there, so that way it has a fairly slow sink, and I think it should have good action. All right, that is the finished up bluegill. I think this thing turned out really cool, and it was a ton of fun to make. And I'm really happy with the size of it, along with how the joint ended up. It's definitely a really good action that it has. I think it's going to work really well. And I don't know if you guys have seen the farm pond fishing videos that we did over the summertime, but there's a bunch of big bass at those farm ponds and all these tiny little bluegill that the bass love to feed on. So I think if we go during spawning season and kind of cast this lure along the bank where the beds are and kind of glide it right over where the beds are, I think we're going to get a big mama bass to be able to bite onto this, and should have some pretty good success. So this one's really cool. And I don't know if you guys have seen the video. I think it was last year we recorded it. I also made another one of these bluegill swim baits. I used the old interlocking joints there. So it's still really good moving. Lure has a really good action, but it's kind of impractical. I mean, you see the size comparison here. This is definitely heavier and also much bigger lure, so it's kind of impractical. I don't really fish with it on a consistent basis, but that's why I made this. I think it's going to work much better and also be a cool thing to have. Like, this is a cool thing to hang up in the shop, but this one's I'm actually going to use quite a bit more. So really happy with how this lure ended up. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.